on several occasions with the kind of tennis that this guy was playing. I think he is back to some of the best form he showed us in 2011.
Well, even though he's the #2 seed, even though he's #2 in the rankings right now, he's #1 in the race.
By a good, healthy margin as well. I think it's about 1,250 points now ahead of Federer after the win last week in Beijing.
So I guess people aren't going to say it's been that bad a year after all.
Well, of course, he's had the most wins at Masters 1000 level, most wins on tour, most wins at the majors, most wins on a hard court. So it's tough to argue that anybody else should be ranked #1. But of course, the rankings, as far as the ATP rankings are concerned, works on a 52-week revolving system. Whereas the race is just from 1st of January to current. Of course, Federer did so well at the tail end of last year. He was outstanding, winning in Basel, Paris, World Tour finals. So he's got a lot of points to defend, his Roger.
Yeah, I think we're going to actually see Djokovic close very, very strong this year, just not only based on what you were saying from last week, what we're seeing from him right now, but he seems fresh.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. I think last year he was so jaded after all the tennis he had played and after setting so many records that he didn't have much to give at the end of the season.
It's almost as if he wanted to stop after the US Open.
Yes.
Love 15.
And of course, as Djokovic was once a hot property, young and up and coming, I think you can say a similar sort of thing about Dimitrov. Was touted as the next Roger Federer.
Well, he's got that nickname that drives him crazy, Baby Federer. Can't stand it.
How good is that?
Well, he's hitting the ball so cleanly. He's moving with grace. Look at the footwork and then just exploding.
It's not like it was a bad backhand cross-court, was it?
No.
Of course, Grigor was able to go on a nice streak. June, July, advanced to 3 semi-finals at Queens on the grass, and back-to-back in Båstad and Gistad on clay. He won 11 of 15 matches during that stretch where he played some of his best tennis.
30-40.
Reached a career high ranking, number 52 in August. Comes in 56 this week, so he's on the up.
Actually had a great coach working with him for over a year, Peter McNamara, and they parted ways at the end of last year. Doing any better than that.
So easy on the eye. The quality of the shot production is just gorgeous. Footwork is sublime. You just can't rush the guy.
It's hard to. You know, sometimes you see the likes of maybe a Murray or a Federer having the ability to take the ball on nice and early, and they can get him off balance. But one of the things he does so well is when he is off balance even, he responds, I think, better than anyone.
Mm-hmm. The serve is looking better than ever. In fact, last week we saw him serve 4 aces in a game against Jurgen Meltzer, and he gave the crowd the bicep. I'm not sure he'd ever done that before.
40 love. Game, Djokovic.
What a start.
Djokovic leads 3 games to love.
Out of the blocks like Johan Blake. They'll be hoping to finish like Usain Bolt. 3 love. That was interesting. Discussion we were having a little earlier, and I think he is going to be the man to finish #1 season ending. It tees things up nicely because we know Andy likes to play indoors, and I think he was disappointed with the way that he finished 2011 and of course got injured at the Barclays World Tour Finals. And I think off the back of how well Great Britain has fared in sport this year, I think Andy really wants to finish 2012 strong.
Yeah, and then Federer.
Well, he's always great indoors, isn't he?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There are very few guys that can compete against him year end. So we have a little competition going on this year.
More day 3 of our live coverage has seen the introduction of some of the big boys. They don't come much bigger than Novak Djokovic. Thomas Berdych and Andrea Seppi was the appetizer before this main course, which we'll see Novak in action. We'll have Andy Murray, not before 6, and then Roger Federer will be the feature match this evening up against the man from Chinese Taipei, Yinsen Liu. Right now it's Dimitrov, who's hoping to keep his head above water here.
He's having trouble winning points. There's the balance that we were talking about. Very few guys can do what we see Djokovic do in terms of flexibility on the tennis court.
That's one of the first encounters I ever had with Novak, back at the tournament in Valencia when it used to be played on clay. I want to say 2003, 2004, and there was this young kid who was playing qualies. It was Novak, and he was having a stretch on the physio table, and I could not believe how flexible this young guy was. And the reason I noticed it is because I used to enjoy my stretching. I used to stretch a lot, and it really stuck out at me. Of course, that flexibility serves him so well when he's having to dig the ball out of the corners, as he does so often, especially with the backhand.
And the way he's able to actually slide on a hard court. And he's remained pretty much injury-free this year as well, so
And I think flexibility plays a big part in keeping the injuries at bay. So gets a digit beside his name. His coach, whose name just escapes me for a moment there, former French player. Of course, he's one of the guys who works out of Moratoglio Academy in Paris.
Well, that's all the players on tour need to see to get a little bit more worried, because when you start to see Djokovic start to come in like this with control, good approach, look at the technique, perfect. Doesn't hit the wrong shot too often.
Exactly what I was thinking right there. Shot selection is outstanding, isn't it? You can still strike a good ball, but if you hit it to the wrong place,
it doesn't do any good.
He's got such a good awareness of what's going on the other side of the court and what shot he needs to hit in order to inflict maximum damage on his opponent. Cruising on serve is Novak. Only lost 2 points, 4-1. And of course, we've got some other matches in progress. A latest score on Baghdadis and Raonic on the Union Play Court, number 3. Baggy won the opening set 7-6, and it's 6-all in the tiebreak. I can tell you that Raonic leads in the Buster 5-2, so that one looking like it might go 3. And of course, the other guys who locked horns is Dennis Isterman and Stan Wawrinka, where they've split sets. Wawrinka won the opening 6-4, and Isterman responding by the same margin on set number 2, and it's 40-30. Stan's got a break point in the first game of the third set. Steve Urich is presiding over this one. So far it's been pretty easy for him, and it's been plain sailing for Novak Djokovic in the opening 5 games. He's hardly put a foot wrong. 7 winners, just 3 unforced errors. Giving the young Bulgarian plenty to think about. First meeting, incidentally, between these two.
Love 15.
That's nicely done. Taking a page out of Novak's book there. Quick to jump on the short ball, move up the court. Don't wait for the ball to come to you. You go after it.
Game, Dimitrov.
So after initial nerves and good play by Djokovic, Dimitrov has settled into this one and just hot off the wire. We've just had news of the fact that Florian Myers had to withdraw against Andy Murray with a rib injury. So that's a bit unfortunate because I was quite looking forward to that matchup. Perhaps one of the best matches of the day on Stadium Court. And it's meant that Gasquet and Stepanek have been moved across from the grandstand. So there'll be a not before 6 p.m. and Tommy Robredo and Tommy Haas will replace Gasquet and Stepanek on the grandstand court. So Florian Myers out, Andy Murray is through with a walkover, a rib injury for the German.
Yeah, that was one of those matches I was really looking forward to. I thought that would maybe be the best showcase match of the day, because Meyer plays well against the best players.
Plays well here.
Beat Rafael Nadal here. Was that last year? Carved him up.
Yep.
30 love.
I said the service being as good as I've ever seen it, and any further evidence were needed. He's made 16 of 18 first serves. That's almost 90%. It's good stuff.
And when he's made the first serve, he's only dropped 1 point, winning 15 of 16. What's that percentage, Robbie?
That's mid-90s, if my Westerboy's high school math is any good.
Very good.
Now, I guarantee you don't know who sings this song, Doug.
You are correct. Any hints?
Our director Salman has got it, and it was indeed Bros. I'll tell you what, in the 80s, those guys were big.
Time.
Well, DJ cranking out some classic 80s tunes this week. One of the reasons I love coming here as well, of course, the tournament director, Michael Levena, has got his own band as well. So he's on top of the DJ, making sure that he's picking the best music. And he's done a good job so far.
Please keep your voices down.
Some hard rock from the 80s, always good as well.
Just to bring everybody up to date on our world audience, Milos Raonic won that second set tiebreak to level matters against Marcos Baghdatis.
Potential again there, Doug, for another 3 tiebreaker match like we saw between Isner
and Anderson.
Yeah.
That was a tough match for Anderson to lose. 6-4 advantage, 2 match points in that.
And one a little later on as well, so he had 3 in total.
Yeah. And we had talked about the difference between those two guys. Who plays the big points better, who handles the pressure better.
And you called it. Broken clocks right at least twice a day.
I wish you would have just stayed with the initial compliment.
Treat them mean, keep them keen, folks. That's how we operate up here.
I got to learn that.
Jason did introduce you today as a dangerous Doug Adler, or deadly Doug Adler. I'm not sure. One of the two.
It's not Big Red anymore, thank God.
For those of you who haven't seen Doug lately, he's shred about 30 pounds. He's looking in showroom condition.
Half the man I used to be.
So another good game here by Dimitrov. Looking to just close the gap on Novak. 2 breaks, done and dusted. Good if you can force Novak and serve this one out. So he will force Novak to serve out this opening set. And see, he's got the Alice band on. I know Jason loves to wear an Alice band when he's working out in the gym. What about you? You a fan of those?
No, I'm old school, Robbie.
Okay.
Just let me sweat and let it drip down my forehead.
Djokovic serving for the first set.
Heavy shot. Boy, this is really an exhibition in controlled power.
We've been at it 25 minutes. And it's Novak with 3 set points. That'll do it. And he lost 2 points on serve in that opening stanza. Looking as sharp as attack is the number 2 seed. 6 games to 3.
Pretty awesome performance. 25 minutes. Took control right from the outset. Never took the foot off the accelerator. Talk about solid play. Look at the first serve percentages and look at the amount of points that he was able to win. He dropped 1 point when he made the first serve and only 1 point on second serve, losing just 2 points on serve. The winners to unforced errors ratio, beautiful. Just a little bit of everything, and Dimitrov really having no idea what he's got to do to compete in this match. It's almost like he's just trying to keep it respectable from the scoreline. In terms of match play, Djokovic way too strong right now.
Ready for play. Qing and Jing. Ready, thank you. Love your team.
Look how quick he is. Should have made it. There's that slide that Doug was talking about on hard court. Can you believe it? Good stuff. Yep. It's been a tough old day. It's deep, it's hard. Of course, it's always a good combination, but it's so difficult to stand the rally for any length of time if you're Dimitrov. It's pretty good, to say the least.
Game, second set.
Gets off to a flying
Thank you for the ball.
start
Thank you.
in this second set.
He certainly does, Jason. And I was talking about how well he's been serving of late. It could be the most improved shot on the year. Look how well he's been serving, and again today spreading it beautifully. This is both first and second serves on the outside, mixing it up perfectly. Nice 50-50 spread to the odd body serve as well, and wide on the juice court, excuse me. He's hit it nice and short up the court, but a couple of bombs up the middle. That's service spread is about as good as you could want.
Mr. Dimitrov challenge on the call. Left side baseline. Ball is called out.
That's well out.
30 love. Mr. Dimitrov, 2 challenges.
Service quickly as that.
It's
hardly broken a sweat so far.
And again, served exceptionally well last week, and he's doing exactly the same this week. We know Novak's been serving well, but of course the returns have been outstanding. It's just the third one he's missed in the match so far. Intelligent shot. Again, was quick to get to the ball, which allowed him to take it on the pinnacle of the bounce, so he could be a little bit more aggressive with that shot. The moment that drops below the heart of the net, he's in trouble.
Well, he's got to keep taking care of business on his own deal, and then he's got to try and manufacture something on the Djokovic serve. 2-1.
Always got to look your best for the pictures. It'll be on Facebook, I'm sure. Mind you, they don't have Facebook here, do they?
Yeah, steady.
It's called something else, though. They've got something very similar. It's about 10 times bigger.
Plenty of excitement as Djokovic looks to extend the slender lead in the early stages of set number 2.
Yeah, well ahead. Novak is more winners than unforced errors.
40-52. Djokovic leads 3 games to 1.
No problem so far, just a case of trying to maintain his concentration from here on in. Better exchange.
Djokovic leads 3 games to 2.
Djokovic, though, still with that healthy lead, relatively speaking. Setting a break. 3-2 now.
Every difference promises challenges to delight, and the way we we understand it takes everyone to move the world forward. And our universe that is in no in Asia Pacific and beyond. We have declared the line for China.
Big difference, isn't there? Points won on first and second serves. Look at the disparity when they're down to their weaker offering. Forced to do when you play against the best players in the world. You have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to go for shots like that, and you've got to hope that you make more than you miss.
There's one of the gentlemen that makes it all happen. Center of the screen, Michael Leweviner, hand under the chin, tournament director, together with Charlie Smith. They did an unbelievable job. And a little daughter there, just to left of your screen. Fabulous singer. Of course, they got involved in tennis many moons ago when the tournament in Shanghai was just a low-level ATP Tour event. They grew that event. Then they got the season-ending championships here for a couple of years. And then, of course, they've brought this tournament to Shanghai. Cool dude. Great guy as well as Mike.
They've done an excellent job over the years, haven't they? Just gradually improving everything for the players, make their stay as comfortable as possible. It doesn't sit at a particularly comfortable place in the calendar, so they have to work very hard, and they do so. Terrific event this now.
5-30.
Anticipation initially from Djokovic, but too much heat on the approach shot for him to handle. And all he could do was defend in that situation. The lob obviously nowhere near high enough. Too many of those today. Two break points.
Djokovic, challenge in the call. Right side corner. Ball is called out. Advantage Dimitrov. Djokovic, 2 challenges. Please.
It's a lovely shot. Didn't muscle it at all. Very tempting to do so when you're trying to hit a winning shot. But what's 2 things here? Firstly, the footwork. Gets up the court, inside the baseline. Then the target. It's nowhere near the lines, but still able to hit a winner because the shot selection was correct. That's the mistake a lot of players make when they're either learning the game or they're trying to play at a slightly lower level than this. Some pros do it as well. Just try and go for too much on that shot, too close to the line. Got to understand what you're hurting your opponent with on any given shot. Depth, direction, pace. Point for 5-2 now. It's the final nail in the coffin, I think, as far as Dimitrov's concerned.
Djokovic leads 5 games to 2 on Djokovic.
No coming back now, surely. Second seed leads 5-2 seconds.
Pause, please.
decent service game. All that Djokovic requires here.
Another shot.
What do you make, Robbie, of Dimitrov's performance this afternoon?
I think it's always tough when you come up against the guys in such a rich vein of form. But it's a nervy beginning, but it looked like he settled into this opening set pretty well. But just doesn't have the firepower or the weaponry to trouble Novak. And you can say that about a lot of players, so he's not alone in that department. But a huge learning experience, a match like today.
Distinctly second best throughout the course of the afternoon. Not the first, and certainly won't be the last to suffer that fate against Djokovic. Here he is, match point.
Game, set, match.
And he finishes in fine style.
6-3, 6-2.
A comfortable win. Only took him 53 minutes. Played well last week. Similar scenario so far here in Shanghai. Gets off to a decent start. 6-3, 6-2.
Too good today. And important you go away and have a look at a match like this and assess where you could have improved. Gives you a good indication of where your game is relative to the very best players in the sport. And you always hope that somebody like Dimitrov will use it as a motivating factor to go out there and work hard in order to catch up to somebody like Novak, Roger, Andy Murray, those guys who are at the top of the sport. And again, nice to see him sign it in Mandarin. He was doing it last week in Beijing. Won over a lot of fans as a result.
And you were in Beijing all week, so what does it mean?
It means Novak Djokovic in Chinese Mandarin.
Nice.
Yeah. And of course, when we have a look at the numbers, the serve has been outstanding. That's been one of the biggest improvements, I think, in his game this year. How well he's been serving. The first serve percentage, outstanding. The way he was varying it. We showed you that graphic early on in the match, how he's hitting all four corners beautifully. And as a result, he was so successful behind both first and second serve. And it's tough to play against him when he's serving that well, because you know he's going to be in every return game because he's so good in that department. And all-court performance was good. So, comfortable winner. For me, he's the man to beat.